welcome in everyone at the Capitol Ale House in Fairfax, Virginia for the George Mason Men's Basketball Coaches Show. I'm your host, Bill Rowan, and along with me as always, the head coach of the Patriots, Tony Skinn. Tony, let's go ahead and jump right into it. You guys are on your longest break that you're going to have this season, but it's not a bad time to have it. You're sitting at 7-2 after 9 games. You guys right now have the highest ever net ranking that the Patriots have ever had since they started doing that in 2018. Talk to me about the first 9 games of the season and what you've seen on the good side. We'll get to some of the things. I know as a head coach you're going to be picky, but give me some of the good things you've seen from your team here in the first 9 games.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, as you look back to all my interviews and all the questions, I think the biggest question was, how do you put 13 guys on the team and get them all on the same page? Guys that were here playing for a new coach. All those questions, I would say in the first, third of the season thus far, I'm pretty happy with where we are. Guys have been very, very coachable and finding just the understanding of what the expectation is. And so thus far, I'd love to be 9-0, but that's unrealistic. Just seeing these guys play with the confidence that they're playing with and where we are right now, I'm pretty pleased.
Do you look at things like the net rating or Ken Palm? Do you worry about those things at this time of the year? Does it matter to you that you guys are, I think, currently top 60 right now in the net?
Yeah, no, that stuff is important. And again, I stress that to start the year with some of these guys and just understanding, what metrics are. Obviously the goal is to get back to the NCAA tournament. And so you have to have some sort of a foundation in understanding how this thing works. Whether you're up, 15 and there's 2 minutes left to go, you got to still finish the game. Those things matter. And I'm just glad that we're, in a position where we are now with the metrics, because these guys are now starting to get an understanding of how important that is to be able to, obviously start the game well, but also finish it the right way.
It's interesting you talk about finishing the game. You guys are coming off a 2-game road trip, split it. You won at Toledo. Tennessee obviously didn't go as the way you had hoped. But what I took away from that game, and you could tell me if I'm incorrect on this for sure, is the guys that were on the floor in the last part of the game were still giving effort all the way through the final horn. I'm thinking of guys like Woody Newton, who's our special guest here tonight. I'm thinking guys like Austin Ball that played all the way until the final horn. What did you take away? Obviously, you never like to lose, but were there certain things that you look back and say, hey, you know what? It was good to see those guys fight all the way through for all 40 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's always about, you never play to score. You never play to score. You try to play as hard as you can from the start to finish. And I think, it's been pretty difficult to get certain guys in, even though you want to get them in. Guys like Austin Ball, who, I think has shown flashes that he can be a really, really good player. And I was just happy that, obviously the games wasn't, exactly what we wanted out of it, but he was able to go out there and just kind of show us that, he deserves some minutes. He went out there, he played hard, he got a couple opportunities to, score the basket. And, again, a game like that where we didn't play well to start the game, I thought we showed some signs towards the end of the game that maybe some guys deserve a little bit more of an opportunity for sure.
Even with not getting the win, still a good challenge for you guys to play in that environment. It'll help you down the road, conference play, and hopefully postseason play. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Again, I look at it as, I spoke about this earlier in the season of how, we were getting tired of beating up, each other up. My offense looked like trash, because, again, guys are cheating each other. Guys know the plays. And then we go out and play another team. And, it basically made more sense because, again, it was a little bit different for us. UT kind of just showed that we got to get back to practicing hard again if we expect to be one of the better teams in the A-10, and how hard we have to practice, how hard we have to do things, because, again, that is the bar and that is the level. And, again, we didn't get the win, but, it was a very, very friendly reminder of what we need to do to kind of get back to the better version of ourselves.
Going back to the opening game of that road trip, Toledo, a really good team. On their floor, you guys come out with the victory in that one. Amari Kelly, career-high 24 in that ball game. And you got, I'll call it a road whistle for a lot of that game. It was tough. Guys in foul trouble, but you were able to go pretty deep. I think 8 or 9 guys scored in that game, and you guys really gutted it out in the second half. They came back and took the lead, then a nice big run. You guys came out with the victory. But that was a solid road win. First true road game of the season, you guys come out with a W.
Yeah, I'll skip the first part about saying anything about the referees in that game. But again, that's what it looks like. You never get a fair whistle on the road. And even though that was, an out-of-conference game for us, it still gave us that kind of a vibe that we're going to expect, 9 times in the A-10. And so for us, just having the grit that we had to be able to pull out of that game, and I don't think for the most part, I think we had control of that game despite of the whistle. And so again, for us, it was about splitting two. You know, you go on the road, you have a chance to beat a good Toledo team, and then you go to UT with kind of house money, and that was the goal. And I'm glad we were able to do that.
We're bringing on Woody Newton here in a little bit, so I want to ask you about him. What was it about Woody that made you want to bring him to Fairfax? Were you familiar with him? Because I think when he came out of high school, you might have still been at Seton Hall.
I was.
If I remember. Were you recruiting him to Seton Hall at that time? Why?
I was.
Why were you so engaged in trying to bring Woody here in Fairfax?
Every time I hear the name Woody Newton, I don't know if I want to smile or if I want to get upset. I'm looking at him right now. He's smiling. He knows exactly why. But no, Woody Newton and I, we go back to, like you mentioned, when I was at Seton Hall. It was just a kid that I recruited, a kid that I really liked. He's got all the potential in the world, and obviously it didn't work out the first time when he chose to not come to Seton Hall. But that's just the layer of the land. You staying in contact with different guys and their families and their kind of the people that are in their circle. And so when I got the job, he was I have this list of kids that I keep in my basement. My basement looks like or CSI or something like that. And so he was on top of that list, and given his circumstances, it was just a no-brainer. I don't even think he committed before we basically had a chance for him to get to Fairfax. And again, I have a extremely tight bond with Woody. He's a wonderful kid. He does things the right way, and I'm just happy that he's able to help us become a better team, and that he's starting to grow more into his own.
And despite, again, going to Syracuse, Oklahoma State, and then back to Fairfax, it's still good to have that local products kind of stay home so that kids that are coming up can say, hey, well, a guy like that's going to stay. Yeah. I could stay too.
Absolutely. I mean, again, anytime you have a chance to, showcase a guy like Woody Newton, who was, a top 50 kid, played on one of the better AAU programs in the country, played at a really, really good high school, it shows that sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to work out at your first stop. It's always about the finish, not necessarily about the start. And so as he's putting together this, great season, I expect more from him. But it's just a good indication for local guys to be able to understand that you can come here and be successful.
Well, we'll go ahead and bring Woody Newton on here after the break. But again, thanks to Tony Skinn. He'll be joining us at the end of the show to talk about what's coming up for the Patriots. But Woody Newton is coming up next. We'll talk about his hot start and the Patriots off to a 7-2 start as well. You're watching the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show with head coach Tony Skinn. We'll be back after this. And welcome back to the Capitol Ale House in Fairfax, Virginia. It's the George Mason Basketball Coaches Show. Head coach Tony Skinn will join us momentarily, talk about the upcoming games for the Patriots. But right now we're joined by our special guest, Woody Newton, one of the reserve forwards on this team. A little bit of a wing forward. You kind of do it all, Woody.
Sir.
7-2 start for this team so far. Talk to me about what's been the difference. All these new players coming together, new coaching staff. You guys have gotten off to a great start, gelled. What's been the main thing that you think that has had this team getting off to such a great start?
I believe what has helped us is everybody accepting their role and just understanding their role and being the best player they can at that role, So when guys understand their role, they just become the best player at it, and it makes our team gel and just be the best we can at all times.
Your role right now coming off the bench, and you had a great game at Tennessee, coming off a career-high 13 points. You're averaging 7.1 points a game right now, but this is the thing that every single game I'm amazed at. You're shooting over 60% from behind the arc right now.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming that's just a lot of work in the summer alone, working on your shot. That's a great start you're off to.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can only give that success to the coaches, coming in the gym in the morning, 7 a.m. with Coach Lamar and Coach Lou over the summer, getting in shots with Coach Mike before pregame, just Coach Skinn telling me shoot the ball as soon as I get it if I got a little bit of room. So I just got to give that credit to them as well as myself because, I put in a man hours with them. So I just got to say I'm appreciative of the opportunity from them to allow me to shoot the ball like that.
When you're sitting there on the bench, not starting, what is your process as far as getting yourself into the game? Are you watching how maybe the other team is playing defense on guys on your position, just kind of trying to sell yourself in? What is your process as you're sitting there on the bench for maybe the first 3, 4, 5 minutes of the game before you go in?
Usually I try to get myself involved in on defense, because it's kind of hard to come in and just rely on making shots. So I feel like I need to get my juices and my flow going by doing something else, and the offense going to come with that, you know, because I can't judge how the defense is playing a certain player because they can guard me different because everybody games on the court is different. So I just try to come in and make an impact on the defensive end, and I know the ball going to come find me if I'm in the right spot at the right time.
Now we talked about your 3-point shooting, prowess. You've also had a few dunks on the season already. So, which is more fun, hitting that three and somebody or getting the dunk?
I feel like it depends on the time of the game, you know. I'd rather get a dunk because, like, the dunk is always momentum changing and it brings a lot of energy to the crowd to get everybody on their feet and it gets the bench type, you know. Like, I feel like my dunk at the end of the ECU game, just to see the whole bench just jump up on their feet. I think Coach Skinn jumped 40 inches in the air that night when I dunked the ball. So I just feel like that's a great vibe when I dunk the ball.
40 might be an exaggeration.
A little bit too much right there.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure he was much of a high flyer back in the day. But one of the things that you guys get to do outside of basketball is the team's always involved in the community. Yes. One of the cool things you guys are going to do coming up this Sunday is having the community, if they want to, come out to watch the movie Elf with you guys on Sunday. Now, a couple of questions for you on that. Have you seen Elf before? And is it one of your top Christmas movies?
I actually haven't seen Elf, and I'm actually really behind on, like, Christmas movies. I haven't really seen too many Christmas movies. Okay. I can only think of, like, maybe 3 to 4 at the top of my head, and that's mostly the Home Alone series. So those are my favorite Christmas movies for sure. But I haven't seen Elf. Looking forward to it, though.
Are you familiar with Will Ferrell movies, though?
I am.
Okay, so you kind of know what to expect going in then with Will Ferrell.
A lot of comedy, a lot of laughs.
A lot of comedy, a lot of laughs. And by the way, if you do want to get tickets to come out on Sunday to watch Elf with these guys, you can go to PatriotNationCollective.com for all the details. Get tickets there. Lots of stuff going on there. So you've had some downtime here, not only with exams, but you have a little bit more coming up with the holidays.
Yeah.
How do you spend your downtime when you're not in the gym working on your game? What is it that Woody Newton is doing, whether it's hobbies or playing video games? What is it that you keep yourself occupied with?
You know, this is my first time being home in a couple years from me being at Oklahoma State and Syracuse. So I like to just spend time with my family, really my mom, you know. Unfortunately, my father passed away last year, so I just like to spend as much time with her as possible because I feel like I lost memories being away at school. So I just try to be around her to comfort her and just put a smile on her face as much as possible. And when I'm not with her, I'm probably with my friends from back home. You know, I don't see them as much anymore either while I was at college. I mean, at school in other states. But, you know, we were real competitive, so we probably still get in the gym because they all play basketball too. But, you know, just have fun, vibe, play video games, you know, the regular stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure your mom loves having you back home around as well.
Yeah.
All right, last thing for you here. You've been Syracuse, Oklahoma State, now you're here, George Mason. You think back to all the different type of road trips that you've been able to go on. What's been your favorite road venue to go play at in all of your travels?
I actually played at some great places, but I'll have to say number one would be Allen Fieldhouse as the Kansas Jayhawks. You know, that was a different type of experience because, like, we played them on New Year's Eve. Then we played them first game of conference play, so it was 17,000, 18,000 sold out, packed out, and we took that game to the wire. You know, it was just a unbelievable atmosphere. You know, you couldn't hear yourself thinking there, and as a kid, that's the type of environments you want to play in, you know, playing in front of the big crowd, ESPN game day. So it just gives you an adrenaline that every kid in every college basketball wants to play in.
Does it feel intimidating when you're sitting there and you look up and you realize there's 17,000, 18,000 people and they all want you to fail? Because, I mean, if you're on the road, I mean, that's what it is, right?
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't say it's intimidating. Honestly, I like road games more than home games. You know, it feel like to go in and get a road kill, you know, it's just like brings a different type of, like, adrenaline to the game for me personally. So, you know, it was more excitement than anything, you know, to show up the number one team in the country at the time. So it was just a good feeling.
So we're looking forward to a lot more road kills from you guys during the season. A lot continued success for you again. Off to a great start on the year. Woody, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Woody Newton, the senior wing for the Patriots. 7.1 points a game, over 60% from behind the arc. Thanks for hanging out with us. Coach Tony Skinn coming up next. Welcome back to the Capitol Ale House in Fairfax, Virginia. Bill Rowland here with you for the George Mason Men's Basketball Coaches Show. And head coach Tony Skinn rejoining us here. And, Coach, you've got stretch here, the longest that you're going to have all season long without actually having a game. How do you keep not only your players, but I guess yourself locked in? Because it's going to be, about 10, 11 days between your last road game against Tennessee and before you play Loyola of Chicago on the 16th.
Yeah, it's definitely been a big stretch. You know, it's that time of the year. It's the norm everywhere. It's not just us. And you try to use this time as much as possible to, kind of tighten up some things. I know for me personally, just looking at our offense, certain things that I know has worked, certain things that I don't like as much. And but then also, this is a big time recruiting for us. Having a chance to go see some of the guys that we have committed who aren't local guys. And so, it's very, very hard, especially now as a head coach. As an assistant coach, it was a lot easier for me to just be able to, miss a practice to go see a kid. But now, not so much as a head coach. And so I took this opportunity myself and one of our assistants to go see Justin Begg and eventually to go see Bryson Coakley, who are obviously not, local guys. So we took advantage of the time off for sure.
Is it tougher coming off of a loss and having the long layoff, or is it tougher to have that win and then have a long layoff? Because I would imagine win, you're thinking, okay, momentum, let's keep going, but you're having to chew on a loss for all this time, which is harder to do.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on that. I'm on the fence. I think the biggest thing for us after taking that type of, a loss against Tennessee, it's always good to just be reminded how much more work that you have. And at the end of the day, a slice of humble pie is not bad either. I think the biggest thing is just finding ways to keep these guys engaged, during that stretch, because it is. I mean, you're talking 10 days. It's just hard to focus on, obviously what happened at Tennessee. You got to be able to flip the page. We've done so in a competitive way, and so I would say I'm on the fence of whether it's a win or a loss that I prefer. Obviously, wins are good, but it is what it is.
We talked about it with Woody. You guys are doing the cool thing with the community, with people being able to come out to watch the movie Elf. Now, have you seen Elf?
I have not.
So you and Woody need to sit together and experience it together for the first time.
Yeah, maybe we'll do so.
But pretty cool for you guys to go out and kind of bring in not only people that are familiar with the players through the Mason family, but just people in the community as well. Pretty cool thing you guys are doing.
Absolutely. It's something that I think we need to do more of. Again, this Sunday. It's a big event for us, but also the community at University Mall Theaters. The whole team will be in costumes. We'll have a Santa. It's $25 for adults, $15 for kids. And, again, you can sign up at patriotnationcollective.com. And I'm just looking forward to, coming, seeing everybody come out on Sunday to support our guys.
You said everybody in costumes. Well, you said team in costumes. Does that include Coach Skinn in a costume, or?
That's a game time decision.
Fair enough. All right, you got 3 games coming up after you get off this break. 2 of them at home. Then you go down and play a tough Tulane team. How do you get everybody focused now? Your exams are done, so now you're in that period where these guys aren't going to have to, I got to get to class and practice. It's not as regimented, so you kind of have to keep them reined in and focused because you do have the holiday break right behind it as well.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, man. It's that time of the year where, focus is everything. Obviously, I want these guys to be able to enjoy the holidays and enjoy the 3 or 4 days that they, that they're going to get. But the most important thing is just, we got to keep the main thing, which is, continue to play well. And we have a chance to continue to take care of business, obviously at home, but a good road test for us against Tulane. And so, staying locked in, those 3 games are important as we segue into conference play. And, I'm a big believer in, the way you finish the year is kind of the way you start the year. So it's a big stretch for us.
Talk to me about the preparation that goes into this. When you have, a quick turnaround like Toledo, Tennessee, you're on the road. I think a lot of people don't understand that you get done with the game and it's almost immediate after that, where I know plenty of times we've been on the bus or the plane and the coaches all have the laptops out and they're all cut. You don't have time really to even enjoy wins sometimes, it feels like.
You really don't. It's a revolving door of preparation, whether it's, watching, a game on the bus that, you obviously either just won or lost, and you got to be able to take a few things from there and show it to the team on, as far as what we can improve on. But then you have to be able to flip the page and have short memory because, the next game is just as important. And, You have 24 hours to celebrate a win, but you also have 24 hours to get over a loss. And so the preparation that it takes, I don't think people quite understand. It's a lot of film. It's a lot of, we have to know who we're playing, who they are, so that we can then deliver that to our guys as well so they can be as prepared as possible.
Has that been something, I mean, obviously you realize as an assistant coach, because you were one of the guys in the trenches that was doing that, has that been a harder transition as a head coach to kind of stay on that same schedule? Do you feel more pressure now?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of a balancing act, just because, you know, when you're an assistant and you're kind of locked in, you're locked into every single game, but you're also locked into delivering because at the end of the day, it's your game. You know, I think for me in this seat, it's just a little bit different because now, you know, all 31 games are my game.
Right.
So it's required a different level of attention, a different, you know, level of detail. But, you know, all the same, it's been pretty cool to experience.
We got, again, a game coming up Saturday. Loyola is going to be in town. 6 o'clock tip-off from Eagle Bank Arena, so we hope everybody will come out for that. And then come celebrate on Sunday. Come out and watch Elf with the Patriots. Again, you can go to Patriot Nation Collective to find out all the information there. $25 tickets for adult, $15 for kids. A great opportunity to come out. The guys are going to have a good time. They love it every time you guys go to the schools and stuff, they love hanging out with the kids anytime you visit the school. So it'll be a good time on Sunday as well.
That's what it's about, and I'm definitely looking forward to it on Sunday as well.
And game time decision on whether or not you're going to be in costume.
Game time decision.
All right, maybe I tell you what, if you get a win, maybe they can convince you. If the guys play well Saturday, maybe they can convince you to jump into costume. We'll see. That's going to do it for our coaches show. Again, thanks to Capitol Ale House for hosting us here in Fairfax, Virginia. Head coach Tony Skinn, his team's off to a 7-2 start. We'll see you Saturday at Eagle Bank Arena.